With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lessons are found. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Hang Out. I'm Ellie Brigida.
And I'm Lee Holmes Foster, and here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This week in the Lesdom is a place for us to touch base every episode about things going on with the podcast, in our lives, or just in the greater Les universe.
And we've got a bunch of trivia nights for you still. We have our LGBTQ pop culture trivia night in Boston at Turtle Swamp, October 17th.
We also have an L-word trivia coming up in New York at Caveat on Sunday, October 27th.
We're also going to be doing a Halloween-themed trivia for that event, so make sure you come dressed up like your favorite L-word character. Super excited. We're also doing a trivia event in Arlington, Virginia at the Boardroom, Wednesday, November 6th.
I am super excited. We are finally going to be having some West Coast trivia nights.
Oh, yeah.
We have two of them coming up. So we have one in Berkeley at Spats on Friday, November 8th. And we also have one coming up just shortly thereafter at El Rio in the Mission in San Francisco. That one's going to be on Monday, November 18th. I'll be hosting both of those. I cannot wait to do that and see all of you there, so don't miss out.
It's going to be awesome. We've also locked down a Generation Q premiere party at Bella Luna in Jamaica Plain in Boston on December 8th. We're going to be watching the show, the first episode premiere, all together. I'm so excited. So stay tuned for more details on that. Lee's going to try to put one together on the West Coast. We will pray to the lesbian gods. We can find
fingers crossed.
We can find a spot. But if you're in Boston, please come hang out and watch the premiere. I'm so excited.
And as a reminder, we are trying to do more events and more trivia nights. So if you want to have a trivia night in your city, or you have a venue in mind, or other places that we should look into, please reach out to us. Or if you want to help put an event together near you, get in touch, send us an email at leshangoutpod@gmail.com.
And the weekend soiree, October 31st in New Orleans, is coming up so quickly. I'm so excited. Hope to see a lot of you there. We will make sure to debrief and let you all know. We'll be all over our social media, so make sure you stay tuned to hear how amazing our weekend soiree is.
Also, in terms of Greater Les Universe happenings, I think we have to talk real quick about Batwoman, which premiered last week. As much as I know people have a lot of feelings and a lot of thoughts about it, it is still the first time that we have the titular lead character of a show as a lesbian played by an out queer woman. And regardless of anything else, that's huge. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that that's a thing that is a reality in our lives now, and I am totally down for it.
I'm so down for it. I do have to say, I don't want to be a damper on everything, but I think this is really important. There are a significant amount of men who have been completely trashing the show online in their reviews. So if you have seen the show and you liked it, it is so important to go and actually review it, give it a positive review, and really push the numbers up. Right now it's an 8% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I have not seen it yet, but I highly doubt it warrants an 8%. Let me read one of the reviews just so you can see the types of people who are making these negative reviews. The quote-unquote hero with whom the viewer is supposed to identify is a short-haired, angry, and overbearing biker lesbian. In short, the writer wrote her to be one of the most unlikable stereotypes they could think of.
I like how you're trying to do the douchey bro voice that whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here's another good one. Don't get me wrong, I love strong and empowered women characters, but not when they stop every 10 seconds to remind me how strong and empowered they are, and that they're also a woman. We don't need politics and TV. We need good stories and good writing.
Ugh.
So, please, help Ruby Rose out. No matter how you feel about this, like Lee said, it is it's iconic. She's the first lesbian superhero in a title role. So I just think we should all at least tune in, give it a shot. If you like it, give it a positive review. And that's all we can do.
And that's what's been happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee, and welcome to our 33rd installment of Shoulda Been Gay.
Oh, it was fun, it was great, but it should have been a little more gay.
And in this week's episode, oh Matmos, do we have an intergalactic treat for you, because that's right, we are diving in to the 1968 hit classic cinema oeuvre of Barbarella.
Did you just use the word of?
I did. I think it's an apt term, and I think Barbarella has earned it at this point.
I'll give it to you.
So that's what we're going to be talking about, and we have brought in a very special guest for tonight.
We have Drew Gregory here with us, a trans lesbian filmmaker and staff writer at Autostraddle, who we had on because she was talking about this on Twitter, correct?
Yes. I am enthusiastic.
So very excited about Barbarella.
Before we get started, I want to read for us the IMDb synopsis of Barbarella, because we do this all the time where we read our synopsis and we give our gay synopsis, which we're gonna do this time as well, but I feel like never has a synopsis captured less of a movie to me than this synopsis for Barbarella. We're gonna talk about Barbarella for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but I would just like to start with the IMDb recap is as follows. Barbarella, an astronaut from the 41st century, sets out to find and stop the evil scientist Duran Duran, whose positronic ray threatens to bring evil back into the galaxy. I'm not sure the person who wrote that synopsis has seen the movie Barbarella.
Well, Drew, first, what's the actual synopsis? Like, what happens in this film? And then 2, we'll talk about our gay synopsis.
No, wait, can we explain why we have to do this? I want to set the scene, which is Ellie hasn't watched Barbarella.
Yes.
So what I would like to do is I would like to have Drew explain Barbarella in her own words, and then I would like to explain Barbarella in my own words.
Please do.
And then we can give our gay synopses
Please.
of Barbarella. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Sure. So I guess I would say that, like, Barbarella is about a pacifist space crime fighter who travels to multiple, like, planets and has sex with a lot of people. I would say that, like, pretty much sums it up. And, like, yeah, there's, like, a plot, I guess. But, like,
sex is the plot,
that's what I
really.
would say. Yeah.
There's a plot. If I had to explain Barbarella to someone like Ellie who's never seen Barbarella, here's how I think I would explain it. It's like if during a secret 1960s writer's strike that we didn't know about, someone just took all of the porn writers in the world and was like, make a movie, but that's not porn. And then all of the porn writers were like, so porn, but we just won't show all of the sex? And then they filmed that movie and put it in space, and that's Barbarella.
It sounds like a great film. Yeah,
And it's fantastic.
I'm gonna have to watch it immediately after this episode.
Okay, with that introduction for Ellie and or anyone else who has been deprived of this classic movie, you still did write a gay synopsis, I hear.
I did, yes. So when I say I didn't watch it, I watched the trailer. And I basically started watching and like sort of was using the slider like in Amazon. Like I was like, doing like a few scenes, which also was probably not a good idea. And only got to like the point where there's that really hot woman who's trying to get with Jane Fonda, and she's like pretty. So that's like what I saw.
Great.
Which I feel like is probably a good synopsis of the film as well. But my gay synopsis is, holy shit, Jane Fonda is hot. So yes, please, can she be gay in this movie?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's it.
Okay, Drew, did you bring a gay synopsis for us?
Yes, I did. Which is simply, Barbarella is about a pansexual space traveler who discovers all of the sexuality of the universe.
I like
Love it. Love it.
Okay, my gay synopsis has nothing to do with the plot of the movie. My gay synopsis is gay allegory film Barbarella presents us a myriad of topics to dive into about sexuality and love and the world and our place in it.
Wow.
I mean, if I'm able to be like a little bit more experimental, I would say that my gay synopsis of Barbarella is just like, Barbarella made me gay.
Yes.
Which is always our favorite gay synopsis of a movie.
Yeah.
So is that why you wanted to talk about Barbarella on our Should Have Been Gay series?
Yeah, because it both made me gay in a lot of ways, among other things. Grease, there's a
When
few
was
things,
the first time you saw Barbarella?
Grease 2, specifically.
Real. When was the first time I saw Barbarella? Like, I was pretty young, but not like a child. I think I was like 11.
Okay.
So
it's
I was
not really like a kid's movie.
No, it's PG
I will
though.
put that out there. Is it really?
It's PG, but if you pause your iPod video at just the right moment, you can see like 3 nipples throughout the entire movie.
Yeah,
And
there's a
count
lot
them?
of boobs.
Yeah, I mean, I just, from my history, I just know this.
Yes.
Three nipples in Barbarella. It's like a Bechdel cast rating without even trying. Like,
I love it.
yeah, there's a lot of boobs for it to be rated PG. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, but if there's actually not a lot of naked boobs, if it's just, it has the feeling, again, as you described, like, you think that it's more graphic than it actually is because the whole movie's about sex, but you don't actually see much.
That's true, although I will say that, okay, so I'm going to take us on a quick side tangent because I can talk about the first time I watched Barbarella when we get to my experience with Barbarella, but I did just rewatch it this week. And my best time these days to like catch up on stuff or watch stuff that I have to watch for the podcast is on my commute. So I will say that I started Barbarella standing on a train with many, many people and then immediately forgot that I was like, oh, it starts with a literal 4-minute long striptease that ends with her completely naked, like boobs a-flying in no gravity space, which I had forgotten sort of that, like, that was the intro to the movie, and I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like people think I'm watching porn, and I felt that way through a lot of watching this on my commute this week.
I started trying to watch it in a Panera, and that's why I didn't get through it, because I was sitting in Panera like, oh shit, like I can't be watching this right now.
But you're right, other than that, it doesn't get super graphic, but there's some boobs.
There's like a lot of like well placed. It's like like an Adam and Eve like thing in like Hebrew school or whatever, where you have like it's whatever. So like it's like covering genitalia, covering nipples, but like it's very sexual.
It's a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of he descends upon her, and then look, their little wind ship goes around in circles for like 20 minutes. And, yeah.
Yes, that is a real moment.
Exactly. Okay, so you were 11 and you saw Barbarella. You saw it at home, or you like with your parents?
I saw it at home. I had a friend whose dad would like was like illegally downloading like movies that, and then would give them to me, and I'd like put them, or like my friend would give them to me and I'd put them on my like iPod video. And so they weren't, I knew like I was a pretty like good kid or whatever. So like if I like really thought I wasn't allowed to watch something, I probably wouldn't watch it. But there was like this in between where I was like, oh, it's PG, I can totally watch this, but I still like wasn't gonna like put it on the main TV. And so I just like had it. I think the first like 20 times I saw it, it was like on an iPod video.
Oh
Nice.
my god. Which, like, how small is the screen? Like, I'm trying to think about back to
It's like
having...
an 1.5 by
Yeah.
2 inches.
Yeah.
It's very small. You do not get the epic space adventure that you get now.
Does it make the effects seem better, though, when they're at that tiny resolution?
You know, I actually don't think I really appreciated the movie until I like rewatched it as an adult, as like, oh, I was obsessed with this. Like, I'm gonna watch this like with friends and be stoned, and like then I was like, wait, this is great. Whereas like I think when I was a kid, I just was so like, Jane Fonda is so hot, and there's this like sort of gay moment, and it's just a lot, and like yeah. So I don't think I was like paying attention to the art of the film, shamefully, but it was really about Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Nice.
I feel like this movie is definitely one to be enjoyed while stoned.
Yes.
Oh my god. I think that would make it a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny to me to look at it now and say, like, it was 1968. I mean, besides the fact that I don't think it was trying to take itself seriously at all, what was available at the time, effects-wise, you know, it's a whole different era. I think you have to watch it with the tinge of nostalgia on it. And if that tinge is also, you know, tinted with a healthy appreciation for Jane Fonda, I mean, all the better.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's great. That's good.
Yeah. And she's very aware. I don't know. I think like one of the best things about it is that even though it's this like campy, like hypersexualized movie, like Jane Fonda seems in on the joke, as opposed to I think a lot of movies like this where it feels like, because okay, like spoiler, the movie's directed by a man.
Yeah.
And like I think a lot of times though when you have these like male directed like, I don't know if you can call it sexploitation because it doesn't have enough like graphic sex, but like softcore sexploitation, it like feels very much at the expense of the actresses. Whereas here
Right.
it's like she's just like owning her sexuality as an actress, as a character. And so like that's I think part of what was so attractive to me is that like, yeah, you can see her nipples for like a few frames, which is great and so important. But like also it's like she's the one who's very much like in control of a lot of the situations. And I don't know, like it feels like Jane Fonda, the actress, like is like, this is silly, but this is really fun.
You'd have to hope she was in on the joke, because the director was her husband at the time.
That's true.
So you'd kind of have to hope he wasn't just like blatantly abusing, like, let's take my wife's sexuality and like put it on the screen, you know, like.
It wouldn't be the first time that happened.
Yeah.
It certainly would not be. But I agree. I don't get the impression when you watch it that she was clueless as to the utter campy silliness of the movie itself.
Ridiculous. Wait, so Lee, what was your first experience with Barbarella?
Okay, so my first experience with Barbarella is going to be also my lesbian rabbit hole. It's not really a rabbit hole, but it's my only real lesbian rabbit hole in the movie, which is that I watched Barbarella because Shay Mitchell, who plays Emily in Pretty Little Liars, dressed as Barbarella in one of their Halloween episodes.
Gay.
And right, Emily, who is the lesbian of the group, so there's our gay rabbit hole, is gay Barbarella. And I was like, you know, I haven't actually ever seen Barbarella. And so we watched Barbarella one evening, and I think Kelsey will probably never forgive me. Because it's just, I don't think it's her type of thing, but it was campy and it was delightful in a very Rocky Horror kind of way. But it was also a little ridiculous. It's a very ridiculous movie. And so I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I don't remember what season it was that she dressed as Barbarella, but it had to have been, you know, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember.
But you,
It was a while
but
ago.
you loved it.
I didn't hate it, you know? Let's put it that way.
You loved it in the way that you could love a cult classic.
Yes,
Yeah.
I loved it in the way that I could love a cult classic. It does still crack me up having watched it again and kind of trying to make sure that I did get a rewatch in this week, is that I just kept getting to scenes where I'm like, okay, now we're just going to get to like this montage. And so when you watch on Amazon, there's like the 10-second skip thing, right?
Yes.
And I hadn't quite realized, I think the first time around, like just how much of the movie is like weird extended shots or montages that I'm like, this could be easily 5, maybe 6 minutes shorter than it is. Like, there's just a lot of much that happens in some of these things. And I think maybe it's just because a lot of them are the scenes where she's, like, in her spaceship and they have the big screen up in front of her. And I think it's literally someone just took, like, a human-sized lava lamp. It's like someone just projected a lava lamp onto a screen. And then they're like, oh no, the stabilizers! Quick! Get the magnetic force waves up and running, and you're like, what's happening?
You're like, science.
Well, also, like, it's paced like a movie from 1968, right? And so it's like, if there's a genre that has changed a lot in the last whatever years, it's like space action movie. Like, the pacing of a space action movie today is like very different from 1968 in a way that maybe if we're like watching a drama, we'd be a little bit more patient with it. So you're right, like, there are scenes that go on forever.
They last a long time.
Yeah, I would actually, like, if we're talking about, like, the ideal, like, state of mind to watch Barbarella, if you're somebody who gets high, I would say to get high, but I wouldn't get high until halfway through the movie. Like, maybe, like, take an edible at the beginning, because I think the first half of the movie, like, a lot happens, and even if it's slow in moments, the like, slowness is hilarious, because it feels fresh and new, and you're like, why is she on a sled pulled by a stingray for, like, 15 seconds when it's probably longer. Like why is this going on for so long when it could be like 3 seconds? But then, like, by the time you get to the second half of the movie, it can really drag. And so then you should be in some way.
Yeah, you gotta make sure your metabolism kicks in at the right time.
Mm-hmm. But also the second half's when the gay stuff comes. So, it's really, it's a complicated movie.
Yes. Let's talk about the, like, gay subtext or, like, ish scene that happens, right? So what is actually gay in Barbarella?
Okay, so there are two villains. There's Duran Duran, as said in the synopsis, which is the origin of, like, Duran Duran, the band. They took it from Barbarella.
Also, sorry, can we take another, like, just hot sidebar to say how funny it is? Because I didn't remember until I hit it again that when they said Duran Duran, and I was like, Duran Duran? and then I remembered that I was like, right, the first time I watched this, I had that exact same reaction and went and looked it up and found out that that's where the group got their name from. Wow. Which I just think is, like, for people who don't know that, the second that you start watching that movie, it's just such a weird, like, time warpy moment where you're like, what is happening?
The chicken or the egg? The Duran Duran or the Duran Duran? Which came first?
Oh, okay, so but the other villain has two names, is the Great Tyrant, or, like, the Black Queen. And how do I describe her? She has many looks, but when we first see her, she has an eye patch that turns out to be decorative. And then later she has a horn that I guess also turns out to be decorative. So, like, neither of these things are, like...
that, like, sentence is just so gay. Like, like, if you just saw, like, a gay person in a bar with an eye patch and was like, it's just for aesthetics.
It's
super annoying.
And it is kind of glittery, too, so, like, that actually tracks perfectly, I think.
Yeah, it's, like, more of a... I don't even know what you would call it, but...
Ellie's already crying. We're good.
But she basically, like... there's so much plot. It's like there's no plot, but there's so much plot. So, like, when Barbarella and Pygar, the angel who she has had sex with, and given the angel his flight back because it's a whole thing. But they get to the, like, planet where Duran Duran is, and then are like, oh, this planet is, like, ruled by the Great Tyrant. And then we meet the Great Tyrant, and she's like the, like, classic female villain type, right? That's just, like, really flirty, has, like, a vague accent, and is just really, like, is just, like, oozing sexuality in this way that, like, our heroine is, like, oh, like, I don't know what to do with this, and, like, it's just, like, gets flustered.
What do we think is the deal with that accent?
Okay, so this is something that I actually learned today when I was refreshing my Barbarella knowledge.
It's a really interesting, weird piece of trivia.
So the actress who plays the character is Anita Pallenberg, but her voice is Joan Greenwood.
Yeah.
So they had two different... I don't know. I mean, my assumption is that they cast someone who's hot, who wasn't... I think Anita Pallenberg was, like, more of a model. I think that's right. And
Well, and she probably has an accent in real life. She's not a native, English speaker.
yeah, but then what's so interesting is that the voice is English.
Right.
So I think they were like, oh, this accent was too real. We want an accent that sounds like someone's trying to play a villain. And so it's not anything. It's like someone doing, it's an English person doing like, I guess like an Italian accent, but like it goes in and out. It's all over the place, but it is hot because I am human. Like it's like it's just something about it. Like it all. It's just like
the pretty does it for you. Is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
it sort of does. And like it's just that it's all so ridiculous, and
Yeah.
then and it's also sexual. And Jane Fonda's so sexual, and so then you introduce this like other character, and they like she grabs her arm and like pulls her in close and is like, "You're really pretty," and then starts like calling her pretty all the time. And it's just a beautiful moment.
Also, while we're talking about the, what was kind of gay part of Barbarella, I mean, yes, she calls her pretty. That's her.
It's a really
that's her
good
pet
impression.
name for Barbarella is pretty. And then literally the first sentence we ever hear her say is, I wrote it down, first of all, in all caps. I just go, hello, pretty. But the next thing she says is, do you want to come and play with me? For someone like you, I charge nothing. Which does not leave a lot to the imagination about what exactly the Black Queen has in mind for what she'd like to do with Barbarella. To Barbarella? With Barbarella.
Hopefully both. Well,
Yeah.
the night is young, is that there was a sex scene between them. Like, not in the same way that there's other sex scene, like, that, we we're going to see it, but then it was cut. All I know is there are stills on Google Images of the two of them together that...
Oh, I did not find that in my
yes,
research.
that are like
Hold,
not...
please.
Yes, please, Google. Like, that aren't, like, in the actual movie, and I don't know what the, like, actual production... I don't know if they, like, cut it. That's what I think happened, though, is that... Which happens, I think, a lot, unfortunately, is like either in the script stage or in the editing stage. They're like, it's too gay.
Yeah.
We can have characters have sex by putting their hands next to each other and taking a pill, but we can't have lesbians. So like it could have been literally gay, but instead it is just really gay. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Wow, are you Googling these photos, Ellie?
Are you? Why, you think that
Yes.
my face looks like I am?
Well, my face looked like I was, because holy shit, that's
Yeah.
hot. That's hot.
Oh my god.
We'll post some.
I mean,
think
I'm not
we can post
surprised.
these. Will Instagram tag these?
Yeah, right.
No.
Will our account get deleted? No.
I don't think
No.
so.
Important question, though.
Yes.
A sex scene between Barbarella and the Black Queen, because we gotta start diving in. So,
Sure.
this decorative horn.
Uh-huh. I like where this is going.
Yeah, I don't know if I like where this is going.
What role do we think this has in the Black Queen's life is what I'm getting at. Anyways.
I definitely think it could double as a sex toy. Maybe not like the first time they have sex, but like if
Okay.
it became like a longer term thing, you know what I mean? Like it just like it maybe it's not like a first hookup, you're my prisoner situation, but maybe it's like we've like established a trust.
I
We
mean,
can bring
do
the
we
horn
think
out.
Barbarella has too many hesitations about sex left right now? Because I don't know that she does.
I will say that something that I don't love is that like she does seem a little bit like off put by like she's not as open as she is with some of the other characters.
Yeah, like the every random man that she meets like 5 seconds after meeting them.
Yeah.
And she's just like, sex, yes please.
Yes.
Yes, that is actually one of the only scenes that I've seen. So I agree. I was like, oh, they're talking to each other, like it's hot,
Yeah.
and then she was like, "You're pretty," and she's like, "Bye."
Yeah.
Good. What?
I mean, look, it's like a classic, like, still coming out moment, though. Like,
Yeah.
just getting a little intimidated, but, like, by the, like, power femme
Yes.
top.
Valid.
So,
But still, she's just like, all right, gotta go. And we're
yeah,
like,
I'm just
"What the
making
hell?"
excuses, which is what one has to do when looking at old queer movies.
And then also, doesn't the Great Tyrant basically then after this is like, bring Barbarella to me? Like, I feel like it's also classic, like,
Yeah.
that predatory kind of vibe, which we tend to be like, maybe
Not-
not. But I'm also like,
Real life and fiction are
the
very
very problematic
yes.
predatory vibe that we're like kind of into, but we know we shouldn't be.
Yes.
Classic.
Just our ever-present foil. What I do want to say is not only does she like immediately have her like captured and brought to her, but also then when she captures Pygar later and is like straddling him and like pulling his feathers out and like brushing him seductively with them, and she's like, "What do you think about when you make love to Barbarella?" She's like a little obsessed with Barbarella. So
I mean, same.
Valid.
I'm just throwing that out there. It's the, unrequited love story of Barbarella is the Black Queen and her deep, intense feelings for Barbarella.
And they do end up in like a bed thing together, like a bed spaceship thing. And then she's like, it's like the whole world's exploding. Sorry, once again, so many spoilers, but it's not really important.
This is not a spoiler-free recap of Barbarella. It's fine.
So like the world's exploding, and because Duran Duran is losing his mind, and then they think their little bed like pod thing. I'm making shapes with my hand, like this isn't a podcast. Like they're like in this little like this bed that has like this glass case, and it starts to like rise out of this like crumbling world, and the Great Tyrant's like, it's because like of your innocence, and that's like we're being rejected by the evil of the planet, like the evil can't take you, and they're sort of like huddled together. It's a nice moment.
Wait, and then they don't hook up then?
No.
Yeah,
I think that's where it probably was though. Before. That's my guess. Is that's when they had sex.
Is in the bubble, in the innocence bubble.
That's I don't know. I guess I have to go back and look at those pictures to see if
Nothing
that checks out.
less evil than two women in bed, claims 1968 film Barbarella.
Yes. Lose that innocence.
You come to the New Yorker Radio Hour for conversations that go deeper with people you really want to hear from, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Questlove or Olivia Rodrigo, Liz Cheney, or the godfather of artificial intelligence, Geoffrey Hinton, or some of my extraordinarily well-informed colleagues at The New Yorker. So join us every week on the New Yorker Radio Hour, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hey, do you like true crime? Me too. And I know what you're thinking. There's so many true crime pods out there, you've already heard all the stories. Well, what if I were to tell you you're wrong? I'm Leroy Luna, the host of Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the podcast that takes a hardcore look at softcore crime. I've got a back catalog of hundreds of bizarre and hilarious stories just waiting to be heard by you. So come join me. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available anywhere you get your favorite podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th every month, baby.
So what I want to dive into is, besides just the like overt textual gay parts of Barbarella, I have a lot of thoughts, especially watching it this time around, like with the thought in my head of like, what is gay in here? Of the whole movie being like a not even thinly veiled allegory for sexuality and discovering one's sexuality, which doesn't explicitly get gay at any point, but I think we can make it gay because that's what we do here.
Sure.
Barbarella comes from 41st century planet Earth, where, you know, the educated, non-poor rabble don't have sex anymore. They take a pill and they touch their hands together and they exchange intimacy. The first time that she meets the guy who catches children,
that sounds... No, it deserves to sound like that.
the child catcher.
They're evil children, I should at least
Chitty
clarify.
chitty bang bang?
He does have also a very hairy chest.
I have a note about his chest hair, and I did not write down his name, but I wrote down what I think I should refer to him as, which is dude who lives in the ice and forests of Weir, because I think he says that is a solid, like, 90% of the guy's dialogue. Oh no, the children must remain in the ice and forests of Weir. Ah, me, I've never been to Sogo, I prefer the ice and forests of Weir. So he is the first guy who introduces her to, like, I don't want to have pill sex, which isn't that a male sentiment. He wants to have good old-fashioned sex the old way, which is our first fun cutscene, and we cut to Barbarella, who is just enraptured by what has happened to her just now. So enraptured that when she meets the angel Pygar in the weird labyrinth that they end up in, and they meet the weird blackguard robots and kill the blackguard robots, and Pygar's like, they are without fleshy substance, and boy does he get a heavy sensual look from Barbarella at that sentence. And they again immediately fall into bed together, in this case in his bird's nest where angels sleep.
Everyone with wings is the same, according to Barbarella.
Fine. And then when she meets Dildano, which, like, again, this
Very
movie
thinly veiled.
just keeps bringing it. And Dildano is, like, there's so many times in this movie where someone's like, maybe you know, she's like, oh, I'm sure my government could reward you. And they're like, actually, what I want, and she's, like, already stripping. And she's like, oh, sex? Don't mind if I do. Dildano happens to want to have pill sex, so they do that. But I just think there's something about the awakening realization in Barbarella that there's maybe more out there in the sexual realm than she had experienced up until now. And what I have written down is that actually when Dildano, you know, she's like stripping in the control room or like the headquarters for him to be like, yeah, let's do it. And he's like, no, the pill, and you just see her face, right, like, drop, and I had this moment where I was like, oh, it's like she, like, realized she was gay, and then it's like, oh, straight sex again, fine.
That's sort of beautiful. I love that.
I guess we can do this, but it's a real journey of discovery, I think,
Yeah.
you know? Sexual discovery.
I mean, there's no reason why in all of the, like, different vignettes, there couldn't be vignettes with lots of different genders and more species. I also, in the idea of, like, how to make Barbarella gay, that's actually, like, something that's, like, on my, like, filmmaker bucket list. Like, as not even as, like, a theoretical thing just that we're talking about now. Like, I genuinely think there is so much potential to have, like, a really fun, sexy, queer space adventure. And there have been, like, multiple men who have been trying to remake Barbarella. Like, Robert Rodriguez was trying for a while. Nicholas Winding Refn, I think, is still trying. And I'm just, like, hoping that all of their projects crumble. Because I'm like, no, when I have the success to get, like, $100 million to make a queer space adventure, you know, in this magical world where that's the thing that happens if you're not the Wachowskis, I want a Barbarella that it's so obvious to me. Like, it's so obvious, and it has so much potential because, like, unlike other movies where you're like, oh, if they just kissed at the end, like, this has, like, even more potential than that. Like, you could have totally new adventures for Barbarella to go on that, like, separate it from the original movie, but, like, are queer. And, I mean, there's even something queer about, like, all the different men she's with, because they're all just so weird, which is, like, not that if a guy's a weird, like, automatically having sex with him is queer, but, like, they're not earthlings, you know? So there's, like, something that's always going to be queer about, like, science fiction.
Yes. Wait, so when you make this Barbarella reboot, is it a sequel? Is it a remake? What's the vision? It's like after all this has happened.
I know it's like based on like original, like on like graphic novels, I think, and I haven't read those.
Yeah, it was based on like a comic, I thought.
Yeah, I haven't read them. So I'm sure there's like, but I'm sure there's just like stuff in there, right? That like could make, I don't know. I haven't spent the time, because that is not where I'm at in my career. I'm like, that is not something I spent like a lot of like specific time thinking about. But like since I was, I don't know, a long time, I've been thinking that like, oh, this should, I mean, when I was a kid, I was like, this should be remade with like whatever actress I was like thirsting over at the time. But then like, as I like came into my own queerness, I was like, oh, Barbarella should be queer. Like there's a reason why I was like attached to it as like a closeted queer child.
It's also funny that they shied away so much from having anything explicit between the Black Queen and Barbarella, because they make literally every woman in the movie like Jane Fonda up and down so overtly like they're eyeing a damn porterhouse steak and they haven't eaten in a week. I mean, it's just funny that they go there so much and then don't go there so much, you know? Like, it's a weird choice to make. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like you wouldn't even have to really change the movie that much to make it, like, explicitly queer in any way.
Yeah, just add a few little extra adventures here and there. Mm-hmm. That's it. So, what would your new like ending be of Barbarella?
Ooh.
Or are we not there yet?
It currently ends with Pygar, the angel, flying away, saving both Barbarella and the Black Queen. And Barbarella's like, "Why are you saving her? Like, she treated you so poorly." And then he's like, what does he say? It's like
angels have no memory.
Yes, that is the last line of the movie, is angels have no memory. But what would be great is if it ended with them like forming like, you know, like a polycule, like, you know, they're just like, oh, we're just like a throuple, and we're just gonna like live out our days and continue to like pick up other space creatures and add them to our like traveling group of queer people. Yes. That's what I want to see.
I love it.
Also, sorry, can we talk about Pygar real quick? Because Pygar, what a ridiculous character. I love him so much. But another important Pygar quote that I want to highlight, because an angel doesn't remember or has no memory or whatever, is A+. A+ screenwriting. But the other one that I love is when the Black Queen asks Pygar what he thinks about when he's making love to Barbarella, and he says, "An angel doesn't make love, an angel is love." Which, again, I'm gonna take as like a deep, much more deeply meaningful statement than it probably was intended to be about our actions and our sexuality. And I just think it's very important to remind us all, since we are recording this very close on the heels of Bisexual Visibility Day, although I think it's going to be a while until it comes out. But just a reminder that, you know, it's not the love you make that defines you, it's the love you are. So thank you, Pygar.
That's so deep.
You're welcome, everyone, for digging that out of there. Pygar, what a winner.
So are we still shipping Barbarella and Pygar? And also Barbarella and the Great Tyrant? Are we gonna ship all three together?
I mean, look, if I could be greedy here and like abandon the entire plot, like I don't need Pygar. Like Pygar has done what Pygar needed to do. Like we can like, just me personally, like I totally support them if that's what they want to do. But like for me personally, I don't need him there. I would rather, you know, like the Black Queen like is, you know, teaches Barbarella how to be a little bad, and Barbarella teaches the Black Queen how to be a little good.
So this is like Black Swan vibes, except obviously there's a different, but you know, the like the dark and the light coming together.
If the light had zero anxiety and was just like really casual about it.
Yes.
Okay, but before we toss Pygar out completely, do angels even have a gender?
Oh, excellent point.
So, I mean, I'm just saying we're projecting a lot onto poor Pygar.
It's very true. It is very true.
But
Pygar is non-binary. Put it on a t-shirt.
I don't know if we have much textual basis for angels having gender. I think they're pretty fluid. So
And like in 1968, like trans characters were mostly being cast as like by cis actors. So just because the actor is a man, it doesn't mean anything about the intended gender of Pygar.
Especially
Totally
not with that
valid.
haircut. That haircut could go
true.
anyway.
That's really true. There's something very lesbian about Pygar.
There really is.
He's very
and I agree.
emotional.
I mean, I have a hard time shipping Pygar with Barbarella, mostly because I feel like Pygar gets treated like a glorified helicopter in this movie. But, I could get behind it if we had, like, super genderqueer, non-binary angel representation. I could do that.
Non-binary angel representation.
I'm for
We need
it,
more non-binary angels in this world. That's all.
do.
That's it.
I think so. I'm digging real deep into Barbarella.
I know. I
tonight,
feel
is
like
what we're
we
doing.
got
It
real.
deserves it.
It went to places that we didn't expect it to go.
I love it though.
Yeah.
It's such a campy movie. I feel like if you're not gonna try to find stuff that definitely was not necessarily intended to be there, like what's even the point?
What's the point?
I also do think that when a movie is like so explicitly campy, it feels, I don't know what like the right words are exactly, but it feels like of a higher quality. Not that there isn't like some fun stuff that's like accidentally campy, but there's something like, here's the thing, is that like Barbarella does not feel, I was about to say it doesn't feel cheap, which like maybe it isn't accurate, but it doesn't feel thoughtless. That's what I'm going to say. It does not feel thoughtless. There's a lot of attention to each of the different worlds, to each of the different characters, even if it doesn't have like a logical, it's like, why does the Black Queen have this like shiny eye patch? Like, I don't know, but like she has it and it's like very specific, and like all of Barbarella's outfits are amazing. I mean, that's like, all of the outfits are unbelievable, and it just like, I feel like there's a lot of humor that comes from like a really like thoughtful place. And by thoughtful, I don't mean like deep. I mean thoughtful, like, oh, like the fur that she's given by the Iceman like has a long tail and she's like tripping over it for like a few scenes, and it's like really funny, and like Jane Fonda's just like really milking those moments. And like just like stuff like that throughout the movie that's like
that stuff, and the Dildano, the headquarters falling apart jokes that like, so Dildano leads the resistance, Ellie, and none of their stuff works. So he's constantly trying to like, dismiss someone, like, no, take the secret entrance, and then he goes and like pulls a lever and like nothing happens, and he like pulls the lever again and nothing happens, and then he's like, the door. and the guy just stands there and he's like, the door, and then he has to like leave through the regular door, and he's just constantly like, like turning, we have these lights that show our secret passages, and like nothing turns on, and he has to like smack it a bunch of times, and then like the lights turn on. I mean, it's just, it's so campy, and it's like, it's campy to the point that, especially when you're watching this movie from the vantage point of 2019, where you're like, did stuff just actually not work on set, or like
just use it
or was it on
so
purpose? Because I mean, it's like, it happens too much for it to not be on purpose, but it's very, very funny. It's like kind of not like laugh out loud funny. It's like healthy chuckle at like how ridiculous this movie is making itself be. It's great.
Also, speaking of Dildano, after they have their hand sex, also very lesbian hand sex. Come on.
Come on.
Like,
come on. It's too easy.
Their hair is curled. Well, Barbarella's hair is curled. Like, she has like this like big sort of, I don't even know what you'd call it, but like her hairstyle usually is not, it does not have ringlets. And then after they have sex,
it's very teased.
Yeah, after they have sex, like she has ringlets in her hair, and Dildano's hair is like huge, and he's like trying to put it down. It's very funny and weird.
It is, it's a little ridiculous. I'm gonna call that their hand job scene, because why not?
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
Hand sex. If we're gonna talk about other unintentional, obvious things, the fact that the translation device that she has is called a tongue box.
Yep. Sure is.
Very on the nose.
Okay, Barbarella, there we go.
It's all so gay.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's pretty gay. So so our top ship, we're gonna say Barbarella and the Black Queen, the Great Tyrant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over Barbarella and Pygar. I think that's fair.
I think so.
Yeah.
There's more chemistry there.
Yeah, there is.
The Black Queen is like way into it.
Yeah.
Pygar just, he seemed okay about it.
He's pretty muted across the board.
He's not a ton of personality.
He's just, yeah.
So what would we have our ship name be for Barbarella and the Black Queen?
I feel like the Great Barbarella.
The Great Barbarella.
Yeah. You have to use Barella.
Well, yeah, I was thinking maybe Queenarella?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, the very first thing I thought of was Blackarella, and then I was like, I feel like that sounds like a Cinderella sketch on the Black Lady Sketch Show.
Yeah, you can.
that I kind of want them to make, but I don't want to steal the name from them too soon. So I say we don't put that one on the table. So Great Barbarella, Queenarella.
That was just so fun.
What about Barbie Queen?
Ooh, okay.
All right.
Or make it this sounds like queer in so many ways, just like Queen Barb, that.
Queen Barb is actually I feel like an amazing drag queen name. Because you always have those drag queens who just have an old woman's name, but they're so perfect.
There have to be drag queens that have Barbarella themed names
sure.
or out. Come on.
Oh yeah, Barbarella is a drag queen in this whole film.
Some drag queen has that fur outfit, right?
Yes.
Oh.
I need to find it. I need to find that so bad.
No doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. Queen Barb. I'm kind of feeling it.
I like Queen Barb. Yeah, I'm into it.
I like
Great.
it.
Yes. All right. Well, I think that means it's time for our Q and Gay.
Q and gay.
Okay, so Q and Gay, they are either yes or no or multiple choice questions. I really enjoyed writing these for this movie. So I'm gonna say, let's start it off. Question 1. The pill or the old way?
The old way.
It's fair.
Don't knock it till you try it. I'm just the pill.
I mean, the pill did look pretty intense
Who knows?
based on their hair afterwards. You never know.
That's true.
But yeah, probably the old way.
Also, there is something I don't know, very queer and trans about decentering genitalia and sex.
That is
So,
very true.
You know?
Oh my god, I wish we had a whole other hour. We could have just spent it all on that.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack that it's not there. But I'd say it's I know it's a either or question, but why choose,
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, both. Secret
Both.
option C, both. There you go.
All right, number 2. What's the best oddly sensual violence moment? A, the dolls. B, the birds. C, the sex piano.
Wow. Oh god. Okay, so as a kid, easily the sex piano. I watched that scene many times.
It's
did
so
things
long.
during it. It
It's
was
so long.
just to clarify for the listener at home. Barbarella's in this contraption that's killing her via pleasure, and it's Duran Duran's playing a classical music piece on the piano, and it's
Mm.
making the machine give Barbarella an orgasm.
It's undulating
Yes.
sensually over her.
But she's so sexual that she breaks the machine, that it explodes because it can't kill her, because there's no pleasure that she can't take.
Wait, I'm going to restate that as poor Duran Duran. His sex organ just couldn't keep up with Barbarella.
Oh my god, she's been waiting
You're
for that.
welcome. But okay,
That's
killed it.
really
Killed
great.
it. Sorry.
But I will say on
Continue.
this viewing, I those other two really stood out to me. And sorry, I'm terrible at these sorts of questions. I'm always everything. Here's my long answer.
I'm just enjoying writing these and making Ellie read them, knowing that she has seen Barbarella sensually get attacked by flesh-eating dolls. or parakeets.
Can't wait. I can't
Both
wait.
ones tear up her tights, and she has like these little like blood marks, and it just feels like very Jennifer's body, and I love it.
It is, but it's also like I want to know who directed the. Well, I mean, obviously her husband, but I just want to know what the direction was that was given, because she's getting eaten by like scary ass dolls. I mean, they have
It's
like
really
metal
scary. Yeah.
teeth, and they're like, and they like chomp. They like really aggressively chomp at her. And she's just there, like, standing against a bar, going like, and it's, like, the most ridiculous, and every scene with any violence in the movie is basically that. It's just like, could you please moan erotically, but, like, fear-based, please? And it's kind of great.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant
So,
actress.
okay, so, the answer is all of them. Great, I love this.
But
This
no,
is-
the piano definitely, like the piano. But I can
Okay.
give a clear answer for that.
Who doesn't need a good sex piano in their
Yeah.
life? That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Okay, question 3. I think we covered this, but we also put these up on our Twitter, so we want to get the
Yes.
official everyone's answer. Who does Barbarella belong with? Pygar or the Great Tyrant?
The Great Tyrant, because I
Yeah.
always support characters making bad choices. I mean, Pygar's like a better
100%.
partner, definitely. But like, I'm always gonna root for the person who's like shitty and hot. So
Sold.
There you go.
Sold.
Shitty and hot for the win. All right, number 4. What is the most ridiculous form of transport in Barbarella? A, the shag carpet spaceship. B, the stingray sled. C, the tube. Or D, Pygar.
I feel very clear about this one, and that would be the stingray sled, because the stingray sled is in the ice world, and so that is how the evil children get around the ice world, is via stingray sled, and this.
Sorry, I believe you mean the ice and forests of Weir, obviously.
Yes, excuse me, the
Yes.
ice and forest of Weir.
Yeah, how does the stingray move on the ice? Does it
don't-
freeze to the ice? Does it
I-
hover above the ice? I mean, I just as
not
much
clear.
as so many parts of the science of Barbarella lose me a little bit. I really need this explained to me.
I think they don't understand stingrays. I think
Mm.
Roger Vadim, if that's how you say his name, don't get stingrays. They
Just
don't know how they work.
thought it looked cool. I like it. Question 5, our last question. Did Jane Fonda make you gay? Yes, or I mean, obviously yes.
Are those my two options? Because
Yes.
I mean, obviously, yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Only we couldn't. There's no other option for that one.
I can't
Yeah, at
even bring
least
myself to
gayer.
write no. I mean, come
Gayer,
on.
yes, more gay.
Yeah. I feel like I separate like the like actresses who made me gay into two categories. The ones who like made me gay like in their energy, and the ones who made me gay like in their sexuality. And so I feel like before I discovered Jane Fonda, like Katharine Hepburn was like already like making me gay, like just like as in, I don't know, in like another sense. And then Jane Fonda, it was like a sexual, like, this is, wow.
Yep.
That's all I have to say. Wow. That's all.
Wow.
And
Wow
then
was-
there's no
yeah.
turning back, you know?
Oh my god. Yeah, Jane Fonda made me gayer today too. So
The main takeaway here is Barbarella
should have been
should have
gay.
been gay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy. Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Drew, thank you so much for joining us for this. This was a delight, and what a great excuse to rewatch Barbarella. On the train with many people probably wondering what weird porno I was watching. You're welcome, BART passengers. Tell people where they can find you and what you've got going on.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at draw_Gregory. So my name, but in the present tense, DRAW_Gregory. I write for Autostraddle, and I'm currently working on a Halloween-related series called Monsters and Mommies. That
my
is all about queer horror. So
Stop it.
I don't know
love
when
it.
this is gonna come out, but there'll probably at least be like an essay or two, and there'll be like 5-6 total. So
Are these obviously queer or like subtext queer? Like, are you gonna do Hocus Pocus?
there's nothing that like we have reclaimed. It's only stuff that like I would say is like an explicitly queer movie, even if there's no like actual, I don't know, even if it is subtextual. it's
Never
like
knock.
All right. Valid.
Nice.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for explaining Barbarella to me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited for Ellie to take an edible, sit down.
I know.
and
I'm like, I
enjoy.
needed more time. I needed more time to like really sit down and dig into
Plus,
it.
you're just gonna have so much going through your head now. You're gonna have so many things to like, really like dig into.
Oh yeah, this
through all those
in-depth
montages.
analysis, academic analysis of Barbarella.
Someone out there has done it, and everyone knows. You all listening know. I want it. Send it to me. Send me your thesis on Barbarella. Do it.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you. We love continuing to build this community, and so we like to take an opportunity every week to shout out some of our favorite things every episode.
And I want to shout out one of our Twitter followers, Emmanuel. They have been a very active voter in our Should Have Been Gay bracket. Thank you for commenting on all of our Should Have Been Gay brackets. We are so sorry. It's been really hard for us too. And I am very upset that Pitch Perfect and Captain Marvel are fighting against each other to get into the finals. But how the bracket has turned out is really pitting some strong ones against each other. So thank you for being very responsive with those, and we hope one of your favorites will make it to the top.
We also want to thank, as always, our Lesbian Jesus patrons. Lizette Stye,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jess Klaus,
Danny Griswold,
Michelle Ray Thomas,
Sarah and Julia,
Nicole Gross,
Carrie Ann Lawrence,
Mark Foster,
Danny Gunlock Timora,
Sammy Walsh,
Audrey O'Connor,
and Wendy K. Bartlett.
And of course, we want to thank our King Princesses. We have multiple: Kayla Kelly,
and our favorites, Amy and Ellen, not to be outdone. You guys, our hearts are exploding with joy and we can't handle it, and we love you all.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Let's Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at letshangoutpod@gmail.com.
Or check out our website at letshangoutpod.com.
Make sure that you subscribe on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts. That way you'll know as soon as new episodes go up every week.
We're also still posting some videos on our YouTube channel this season, so make sure you subscribe at youtube.com/letshangoutpod to catch them.
If you want to help support the podcast, there are so many different ways that you can do that. One of them, it's so easy and free. Rate and review us on iTunes. It helps new people find the podcast.
You can also join our Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon. We have Les Essentials watch parties.
You can get ad-free episodes. We have bloopers. We have all sorts of good stuff.
So make sure you join at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want to deck yourself out in some sweet, sweet merch, you can find that at our TeePublic store, which is at bit.ly/lesshop. You could even pick yourself up like a sweet Andro Femboy shirt if you happened to feel like Andro Femboy was a box maybe that described you accurately. I don't know. You do you.
It's such a great shirt. I'm so excited to see people rocking it.
I'm excited to rock mine. That's all I know.
Oh yeah. And if you want to find us individually, you can find me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram and Twitter.
You can find me at LSH Foster on Instagram and Twitter.
And with that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Hi, I'm Laura Cathcart Robbins, and I am the host and creator of the podcast Only One in the Room. Every week, my co-host Scott Slaughter and I invite you to join us and lose yourself in someone's incredible Only One story. We talk to real people dealing with issues like infertility, the death of a loved one, human trafficking, and women who, fake it. Oh, and we want to be fair, so we talk to celebrities too. Emmy winners like actor John Cryer, supermodels like Amber Valletta, and rock stars like Ryan Dusick. Everyone is invited to share their Only One story with our listeners. With 21 seasons and counting, we guarantee you that Only One in the Room has a story that you'll connect with. This podcast is for anyone who has ever felt alone in a room full of people, which is to say that this podcast is for everyone. Download Only One in the Room on Apple or Spotify today.